Hi, Lolly. How are you?
Oh, good, Rainey. How are you?
I'm bloody good, thank you. Do you know why?
Tell me why, girlfriend.
I'm going to see you in like 2 days, bitch.
Oh my God, that's right. Guys, I think this year's going to be a record for how many times me and Rainey are going to see each other. It's so exciting. So get ready for some content. But anywho, Rainey, you're on the case today again.
I'm on the case, and guys, I have to apologise in advance. This one's frickin' awful. I was just going on my notes before. I was like, why am I doing this case?
Oh no, ruthless Rainey back in the house.
It's just not very nice.
Look, there is a lesson in all of these stories, and I do feel like maybe this podcast isn't the best thing to be doing. There's laughs involved. You know, we have a great time. But at the end of the day, these stories are terrible. So just want to pay respects to the victim and a big fuck you to the murderers.
That is right. Fuck you. All right, well, there's only one thing to do, guys, and that is to jump right in. Let's go.
And you can't handle the crime. You can't handle the crime. You can't handle the crime. You can't handle the crime and scandal.
We are going to go somewhere in the USA. Surprise, surprise. I actually don't know where, but we're going there, okay? Sorry, guys. There wasn't a lot of background on this one. August 26, 1970. A baby girl is born. Her name's Wendi. Wendi with an I. She grew up in Here it is in my next notes, guys. She grew up in Cascade, Arizona.
Jeez Louise. That's all right.
So Wendi grew up in a very religious household. Her father was a minister, and these guys would go to church.
Love the Lord.
They loved the Lord so much that on Wendi's graduation, they celebrated by going on a missionary trip to Mexico.
Wow.
After this trip, Wendi would come back and she would work in the administration at the local hospital. And in 1992, she would meet a very handsome man named Joe Andriano. Joe was fit. He used to be on the school football team, and actually these two did go to school together, but they didn't really know each other. And they really hit it off. Their friends thought that this was a weird match. Didn't really know too much about this mystery religious girl, but Joe seemed pretty happy. He worked for a local boat builder company, and he had his own boat, and these two would frequent the ocean and get out there and sail the seas. They were inseparable and madly in love. So, what else is there to do when you're madly in love? You get married.
Yes!
1994, these two would get married at the local Baptist church, and it was a nice celebration. Joe's family, still a little unsure. They didn't really know a lot about this gal, but Joe was happy, so they pushed their reservations aside. What will be, will be. Not only were these guys partners in life, but they were partners in business.
Ooh.
They would start a local windscreen repair and replacement business, and business was thriving. I mean, people out there getting stone chips all over the place.
Don't you hate that? I don't think I've ever had one.
Oh, I have. It was frightening. Story time. This is a long time ago. I was driving back when the roads were very different in Christchurch, and there was a big, gigantic rock in the middle of the road, and there was a truck in front of me, and it flicked it up, and it smashed in the middle of the windscreen. My whole windscreen shattered. Whoa! I almost crashed into the car beside me. I screamed. I was crying. It was horrible.
What did you do?
Carried on driving.
Really? Did you have to put your head out the window like a dog?
Yeah.
Really?
It was horrible. It was so scary. It didn't go through because it would have been dead.
Oh my God, horrible. You okay?
No.
Guys, we're going to need a minute.
We are. Back to the story. And look, these guys, business is doing all right. It's thriving, but Joe also has a part-time job at a local welding business. Maybe he's welding boats still. I'm not really sure, but these two are just living their life.
Sure, it's not thriving that much, obviously.
No. 1 year into the marriage, Joe's like, something feels weird on my neck. He noticed a lump.
Oh.
Something weird was going on. His neck was feeling a little achy, a little bit of pain. So he went to the doctor, and the doctor's, he's doing a weird examination, and he's like, it's nothing to worry about. You see, this lump would get bigger and bigger.
Oh, Christ.
He would go back to the doctors. They scheduled in a surgery, and thankfully for Joe, it was just a benign tumour. So they carried on.
Well, that's nice.
Look, wasn't long. 1997, these two would welcome their first baby son into the world.
Right on schedule.
Right on schedule. It's not long after that, 1998, Joe's like,
That lump's coming back in my neck again. This is weird.
Oh,
so went back to the doctors and he's scheduled in for a second surgery. They whipped this bad boy out and it's fine. Nothing wrong.
but give me the heebie-jeebies.
I know, right? Just keeps growing back.
It's like a little gremlin in there.
I know. You'd know all about that. They just carried on. Carried on with life. Wendi, she would go on to get pregnante again. Baby number 2 is on the way. And look, lump just keeps coming back. Like, what the frick is going on? They whip it out.
Again.
Whip it out again. You wouldn't believe it, Lolly. Not long after that, this lump came back.
Oh, my God.
They're thinking, okay, this can't just be something benign and harmless. Maybe this is a little harmful. They would go back and have a fourth surgery. Before the fourth surgery, he would get an x-ray. This x-ray would come back looking a little dodge.
Oh.
There was some shadowing on his lungs, chest, throat. To the doctors, it's not looking very good.
Big C, perhaps.
For the fourth time, this lump would be removed. All of these tests were going about. Poor Joe. And Lolly, this guy, he would be diagnosed with a very rare cancer called adenoid cystic carcinoma. And in fact, it had spread to his neck, chest, and throat and lungs. And poor Joe, at just 31 years old, has now been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer.
Oh, no. And they only decided to look on the fourth surgery?
Yeah.
Incompetence.
I know, it's bullshit, isn't it?
Terribly sad.
Well, it is very sad because now we've got Wendi. She's just weeks away from giving birth to their second child. Joe he's devastated. Wendy's devastated. But, you know, these people, they're a family of the Lord. And they are going to pray and this is going to get them through.
That's all you need.
Joe, he's feeling fit. He's still feeling healthy. He wants to be there for the kids. So instead of going down the westernized medical route, they are going to go the holistic approach.
Cool. Intrigued to hear.
We're talking prayer. We're talking special diets,
Smoothies.
water fasting. Probably didn't really know about it back then, but I can only imagine. We're talking holistic retreats, anything and everything. But they really did prioritize their time in the church and baby Jesus.
Pray. May the Lord get you through.
Things are going okay. Joe's not feeling the best, but he goes on a retreat. And this retreat goes on for a few weeks and he is surrounded by people with different types of cancers, but they're all facing the same thing. And it's this point in time where he is thinking,
Fuck this shit. I want to live. I want to live. And this holistic path is not working.
it's the first time in a long time he's feeling positive, and he comes back and he says to Wendi,
I think we better go down and get some chemo and radiation because I don't think what we're doing is working.
Give me the drugs right now.
give me the drugs. But look, I don't blame them, to be fair. So Joe is ready to start some rounds of chemo and radiation. This is obviously going to be very taxing on Joe's body, so he is going to have to stay at home. He's going to have to rest, and Wendi is going to have to go out there and she's going to have to be the breadwinner. Wendy's not really thrilled about this. She really had dreams of just being a stay-at-home mother and Joe being the main provider.
Yes.
But not today. So he's going to have to stay home with the kids. It's going to be difficult being with the kids, but also he can't work.
What a dilemma.
What a dilemma. I know, right? You've got 2 little kids running around at home and you'd be feeling like shit and balls.
Oh,
Wendi is working multiple jobs. She's finding it really hard to make ends meet. You know, she's got the sick husband at home, the kids. She's out there slaving away. She's thinking there's got to be something better than this. So she goes and she starts applying for jobs. And she hits the goddamn jackpot, Lolly.
nice.
Yes, she gets a job as the apartment manager at the San Riva Apartments in Awataki Hills. Now, this is a higher-end community. We are filled with rich men staying at these apartments.
What's the address?
And look, this pays higher than normal.
Really?
And also, it's a live-in job, Lolly. So these guys, they get to stay in a fancy apartment rent-free while Wendi is out there busting her balls managing the apartment.
Does this sound a little too good to be true?
Well, it does. It's great, isn't it? So I did a little Google of the San Riva apartments, and I must say, for back in 1998 or 99, this would have been quite a nice place. You've got 2 large pools, big barbecue area. The apartments look lovely, spacious, and I can just imagine that these guys were thinking,
Wow, this is fancy.
Nice. They deserve it, you know?
Wendi is loving it a lot.
Really?
Not only is she managing the apartments, she is head of the social committee. And I tell you what, Lolly, she is organising cocktail hours, pool parties, barbecues. And not only is she organising it, it is compulsory that she attends every single event.
She is living her best life.
And none of these guys even know, or colleagues know, that she's got a sick, dying husband at home.
Wendi, you dog.
I know, so she's thinking, thank Christ, because she's hating life.
Yeah, no, she's got a little bit of enjoyment. I'm happy for her.
Joe's at home, he's sick as a dog, he's looking after the kids, and Wendi is out there partying up large.
Shit.
She wouldn't see the kids or Joe very often, but Joe's parents were nice enough to come and look after the kids so they could spend a little one-on-one time together because, you know, Wendi is a hard-working gal. She's out there making that bread and butter.
Oh my God, but what about the kiddies? Wendi, pull it together a little, loves.
Well, it's a bit mean, isn't it?
That is so mean. It's really shitty.
Look, Lolly, those social events weren't quite enough because Wendi would start going out to the clubs and she would start hooking up with guys.
Wendi! What is Jesus gonna say?
Joe is feeling a little insecure.
Oh, Joe.
He's worried that Wendi is going to leave him. She's never home. She's out. Joe's health is deteriorating. The cancer is spreading again.
Oh.
They have to up the dose of the chemotherapy. And poor Joe is violently ill.
Oh, Joe.
Doctors are really starting to worry. In 1 week, he lost a total of 15 pounds. He was sick.
Honestly, it's horrible, isn't it? I do feel very bad for Joe.
Oh,
It's terrible.
I know. Now, this isn't great for Joe, but Wendy's like, this is just not the life that I want. His medical bills are racking up. He's sick as a dog. I just can't be bothered.
Wendi.
Bitch. She's frustrated also, Lolly, because they didn't get a life insurance policy when Joe was healthy. She starts to have an affair with a guy that's living at the apartment. His name's Rick. So not only is she going out grinding at the clubs, she's got a social life, she's now having a full-blown affair, and this goes on for months.
How old is Wendi?
I'd say 29 at the stage. She's young. Now, Rick doesn't know that Wendy's got a sick husband at home. He actually eventually finds out and says,
Whoa, Wendi, this is not okay. We cannot see each other, you goddamn whore.
whoa! Wendy's not impressed by this, and she would spend a lot of time at Rick's door bashing down, demanding he would let her in, and this went on for quite some time.
Wendi. Embarrassing.
Wendy had the master key, so she would just let herself in. It didn't really work out, and Rick, he eventually moved on out.
Wendi, you psycho.
Wendy would just carry on into the clubs. She would be out seen by her colleagues, dirty dancing, kissing other men. She was slut dropping all over the place.
Love a good little slut drop. Not as easy when you're nearly 40, but still give it a good nudge.
Do you think they were slut dropping back then? They probably were, weren't they?
I think everyone slut dropped throughout all the ages. I've been doing it since the 1800s.
Probably. I wonder when it started.
I reckon it was 1620. Mary May was just wandering through the cobblestone streets of the village trying to get some bread to feed her 10 children, and
A man walked past.
a man walked past and she dropped her bread, and instead of reaching forward, she accidentally dropped back. And this man instantly got aroused. And that is how the slut drop was born.
I love that.
Thanks, Mary May. We owe you one.
Ooh.
Whoopsies. Oh, hang on a minute.
This isn't my baguette. Oh, goodness me. George III.
Get your baguette out of my mouth. Okay, back to the story.
Back to the story. While Wendi is out there doing her little slut drops, Joe has just had his 4th session of chemotherapy.
Oh, Joe.
He is violently ill. Kids are in bed. Joe's in bed. You can imagine that he's got no energy to get up. Wendi finds herself in a little pickle. You see, it's sexy time. She's got a man to bring home.
No.
She's going to go home and be very quiet. She arrives at the apartment, wiggles the key, creeps on in, and these two go to Pound Town on the sofa.
Hang on a minute. So she's brought a man back secretly while her sick husband is in bed with the children. She's reached a new low.
She reaches a new low. Anyway, that's fine. They do the deed, sends him on his way, and then the next day she calls this guy and says her husband's just died of cancer. So very strange. Joe's still alive. Wendi can't be bothered with this man anymore. Now look, these affairs go on for quite some time, and she's thinking, right, Joe's taking quite some time to die. I think we should get a life insurance policy. So she does some pre-applications. Joe would get these phone calls saying,
Yeah, g'day, it's the sales guy here. We got some insurance applications coming through.
and Joe's like, nope, don't need that. But then Wendi would go and approach the insurance company saying, please don't deal with Joe, only deal with me. So you can just imagine there's some red flags going up against Wendy's name.
I don't think you could get life insurance when someone's terminal.
You can't, but Wendi had a way around this because Wendi started asking her friends if they would do her a favour. Would you pose as Joe and go down to the doctors and get a medical, get the all clear so I can get insurance?
Oh my God.
And people were saying, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She then goes and offers another person $50,000.
Ooh.
This guy said no. So good on you, mate. He was not having a bar of it.
Oh, good on you.
Now, this plan is not going to plan because no one's willing to help. And of course, Joe is on death's doorstep, so he's never going to get a medical. Joe and Wendi, around this time, or maybe a little bit prior to this, they decide to do a lawsuit against the doctor that misdiagnosed him. They are going through the process. If this goes through, then they could potentially be in for millions, especially if Joe dies.
All right, that's fair.
Wendy's not having a great time.
Sounds like she is.
She's thinking maybe it's just best I just sit back and wait for Joe to die, naturally. October 7th, the year 2000. It's been a few years since Joe's diagnosis. Joe, Wendi and the children, they go to a family barbecue and he's very unwell. He can barely walk. He's in the lounge and family are they're doting on him, giving him anything he needs. And it's just a really sad time, but also a really special time that the whole family could be together.
Oh, so horrible.
Wendi and Joe and the children would head home. It's late. It's a little bit before midnight. And they get the children to bed. They're going to go to bed as well. A bit of time passes. It's 2:15 a.m. and Wendi would call Chris. She lives in the same apartment. She's a work colleague. And Wendy's needing a little bit of help. She asks Chris to come to the property because she needs to take Joe to the hospital. Chris heads on over. Wendi, she's acting a bit weird. She's standing in the doorway, being a bit strange, and Wendi says, I've got a problem. Don't ask any questions. My husband's inside, dying on the floor, and I haven't called 911.
Oh.
Chris is like, what do you mean you haven't called 911? I said don't ask any questions.
Oh my God, you horrible, horrible woman.
Chris rushes inside, and it is a pretty awful scene. Joe is in the fetal position. There's vomit everywhere. He's struggling to breathe. Oh, Wendy's just kind of standing there. Chris is saying, what is going on? Why haven't you called 911? Chris then approaches poor Joe while Wendi leaves the room. Joe lifts his head, struggling to breathe, saying,
I need help. Please, what's going on? I've been waiting for so long. Where are the paramedics?
Poor Joe thinks the paramedics are on the way.
Oh my God.
According to Joe, over 45 minutes and nothing has happened. Wendi comes back into the lounge and she says, look, 911, they're too busy. I'm just going to take you myself. They're on another call. It's like, okay. Pretty sure if they're on another call, Wendi, they don't answer yours. They don't put you on call waiting. Joe is fragile. He's weak. He can't get up. This infuriates Wendi. She starts yelling and swearing at Joe. Chris is thinking, what is wrong with this crazy bitch?
Oh, man, she's so awful.
Something happens. I don't know what's going on, but the sirens start coming down the street. Chris goes outside and she decides to wait. So I'm not really sure if it was Chris that called or Chris convinced Wendi to call. The ambulance, it's nearly there. Chris is outside. She is waving it down. They pull over. They jump out. They're grabbing their gear. And all of a sudden, Wendi comes out of the front door yelling and screaming at them, telling them to leave. She then goes inside, slams the door, and locks it.
Whoa.
Chris and the paramedics are thinking,
What the fuck is going on?
they are bashing on the door. She's not answering. A bit of time passes. The 911 dispatcher, she's got Wendy's landline phone number. So she calls the landline and manages to get Wendi on the phone. Wendi then comes out from around the back of the property, jumps the fence. She's now got new clothes on and wet hair. And she says, look, guys, Joe has got a do not resuscitate. He's dying of cancer, and I want you to leave.
Whoa.
Chris is thinking, oh my God, what is going on?
This girl's the devil.
This girl is the devil. The paramedics, they have to abide by what she said. I don't know why. It seems a little strange.
Doesn't it?
They head on their way.
No.
Chris, she's a little over her head. Too much. This is too much for me. And she heads on home.
No, how could you go home? I can't believe it.
3:39 a.m. 911 would receive a call. It's Wendi.
911, what is your emergency? My husband tried to kill me. He tried to strangle me and I hit him, and then I tried to call 911, and then I didn't want to get involved, and so I stopped, and then he started being mad at me and then tried to take off after me again, and I hit him.
Claiming her husband has just tried to attack her and she has stabbed him in self-defense.
Stop it. The man who couldn't lift his head.
Yeah, this is really confusing. What has happened in the space of like an hour? The same paramedics that were there just not long ago, they would arrive. Wendi is standing at the front door, still wearing the same t-shirt, and she's covered in blood.
Oh my God.
They would walk into a very brutal scene. There's blood everywhere, blood splatter on the wall, blood splatter on the ceiling. Poor Joe is laying dead on the floor.
That poor man. He's had the most horrific few months.
Now, it's been a brutal time. He has a clear stab wound to the throat, and his head is covered in blood. There is a broken bar stool nearby, a broken lamp, a belt, and a bloody pillow. So, when police get there, they're thinking this is very strange. She's claiming it's self-defense. He's gone and attacked her, but this is a little overkill. Something's not adding up here. By the time the police do arrive, it's 3:52 a.m., so that phone call came in at 3:39. It's clear a bit of time has already passed because the blood around Joe's head is already dry. Wendy's taken in for questioning. She describes that they came home after a lovely evening and Joe just got into a rage and started accusing Wendi of having an affair. Joe got physical. He grabbed a belt to try and strangle Wendi, and Wendi grabbed a bar stool, hit him in the head. He went down and she hit him again. And it's at this point that she rang Chris to come to the house to help. The paramedics came. It's a little strange though, because Chris didn't really take note of any blood or violence that had occurred. Joe was clearly just asking for help. Once the paramedics arrived, Joe and Wendi were just too embarrassed to tell them what was going on, so she sent them on the way. Paramedics left. Joe then grabbed a telephone cord and tried to strangle Wendi. and Wendi somehow grabbed a knife. Joe tripped, he fell over, and he fell on top of it.
You can't be saying someone fell on top of a knife.
Do you remember we did that case and that boy did that to his mother and got away with it?
Yes.
The investigators, they're not buying it.
No.
When Chris came in, no signs of a fight, all the bar stools were intact, and Wendi didn't really have any real injuries. The family also claimed that Joe, he could hardly walk. And that's exactly what Chris saw. He could hardly move. How on earth is he going in for a full-blown attack if he can't get up?
Nah.
Investigators would leave the room and they left Wendi sitting in there. Wendi obviously doesn't know the etiquette in an investigation room. You just stay quiet. She would call her work colleagues and tell them to go to the office and start hiding all this paperwork and files. And the investigators are thinking,
Jackpot. We got you, bitch.
after Wendi is released, they would go and search the office. Now, on the computer, they would find a search engine with a search history of certain poisons and how these certain poisons would kill people.
Oh my God.
The files that she was trying to hide were actually shipping notices of a substance called sodium azide. This is an industrial cleaner. And that's where we're going to go to Fun Facts of the Crime. Here we go. Did you know that sodium azide is a chemical most commonly used in airbags? Oh, when a car crashes and the airbag is deployed, it is because sodium azide rapidly turns into nitrogen gas, and this inflates the airbag in milliseconds.
Unbelievable.
But inside the human body, it does something a little more sinister. It starts to shut down your cell's ability to use oxygen, meaning your body essentially suffocates from the inside out.
Oh, Christ.
Why is this used in crimes? Well, it's hard to detect. Symptoms look like a sudden illness or a collapse. Fast acting usually takes effect within minutes of ingesting, and small amounts are lethal.
Whoa.
But it's very hard to buy sodium azide. You can't just go buy it from a retailer. You need to be a business that has an actual use for it. Obviously, the apartment doesn't have a use for this chemical, but what Wendi did, and in these files, she would use the apartment's company number and make up a new company and create some sort of business and some sort of need, send it through to this company selling sodium azide, and would send it to her.
Sneaky bitch.
But she thought, I will be a little clever, and she sent it to another address, and then she'd go to this company saying, oh, sorry, I accidentally got a package sent here, pick it up, because that was what was going to distance her from the package. But joke's on you, Wendi, because as the investigators were investigating, they went to this business, and these guys were like, yep, that is her. Why does she need sodium azide if Joe has clearly been bludgeoned to death? They took some samples of medication at the house. They were trying to find where the sodium azide could be, and it took a bit of time. They couldn't figure it out. But then they found out that Wendi had a storage unit. And they went looking in the storage unit, behind all these boxes. Voila, what do you know? There's some sodium azide, some gloves, some plastic spoons and knives, some little gel capsules, and a little pill packet that says herbal pills. So this bitch was just like loading up these little capsules, putting them in a jar, and was attempting to poison Joe to hurry along the death. The medical examiner's report would come in. It was confirmed that Joe, yes, had quite a decent stab wound in his neck, all the way to his spinal cord. He had 24 blows to the head from the bar stool.
Oh my goodness me.
And he also had sodium azide in his stomach.
Poor Joe.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. Once I was reading my notes, I was like, what have I done?
I know, but a lady did this. She's not a lady. She's a monster.
The night that Joe died, there was a beef stew sitting on the oven, and in the beef stew confirmed that there was sodium azide in it. Investigators had it all figured out. They're thinking, well, she obviously tried to poison Joe, and it was too slow, So then she just went into a fit of rage and thought we'd do the whole self-defense, and she's gone and bludgeoned him, and that didn't work, so she's gone and stabbed him in the throat.
Oh, it is so dark.
Poor Joe.
Poor Joe.
Poor Joe. 10 days after Joe died, Wendi would be charged with first-degree murder.
That's right.
And Lolly, the prosecution's like, this bitch is going down. This was the most torturous murder for this poor, sick man. So these guys, they are seeking the death penalty.
Fair enough.
Sing it to me.
An eye for an eye.
Wendy would have to sit and wait for a very long time.
Mm.
Her trial would be postponed 12 times. And this trial would go ahead 4 years later.
Wow, 4 years.
When Wendi came out to the courtrooms, she was looking a little different. Before she went in, she was blonde, well-groomed, looked after herself. Now she's looking a little frumpy. Wendi is looking a little frumpy. Dark hair, just not looking great. Her friends, or previous friends, were a little shocked.
Yeah, wow, prison just turns you ugly.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing, Wendi.
The prosecution would paint a picture of a terrible mother and a terrible wife. She didn't enjoy being the family's breadwinner, so she went out and she cheated. She had affairs. She really wanted to get rid of Joe and all of his medical bills. Joe had filed for that malpractice suit. She really needed Joe to die so she could really reap the rewards of that. And obviously, as we discussed before, Wendi tried to poison him, didn't work, so she went down the whole, poor me, self-defense. Wendi, of course, I forgot to say, she pleaded not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
She's not guilty in all of this. The defense claims she is an innocent woman that was suffering in a domestic violence relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Joe abused her. However, Joe wanted to end his life. And Joe, in fact, went and took that sodium azide by himself.
That is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that to yourself. Come on.
Well, that's a pretty brutal way to go. And also, Wendi stood by a story that he got very angry and aggressive and tried to attack her, tried to strangle her, and ultimately they got into a massive fight which left Joe dead. November 18th, 2004, the jury would deliberate for 2.5 hours. And they would in fact find Wendi guilty.
Guilty, bitch!
Of first-degree murder.
That's right. This woman is a garbage gal.
This is disgusting. And it is first degree because look at the planning she went to.
Horrible, horrible whore.
Horrible, horrible whore. December 2004, Wendi would go to her sentencing hearing.
Ooh.
And Wendi would be sentenced to death.
Whoa! Ooh. Yeah, look. Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, I know maybe some people don't agree with the death penalty, but I'm not one of those people.
No, I agree. I mean, that poor man.
Yeah.
She was just 34 years old and she would be the second woman ever to be serving the death penalty in Arizona.
Wow, what a title.
I know. She appealed and appealed and appealed until all of her appeals were peeled out. And look, they were all denied.
Yeah.
And to this day, Wendi is sitting on death row waiting to die by lethal injection.
Wow. Damn, it is dark, isn't it?
It's dark, but, you know, fuck you, Wendi.
Oh, my God. Those poor children.
Yes, those poor children, they live with Joe's parents. Look, they were going to obviously lose a father at some point, but now they've lost the mother and the poor father in such a brutal way. I mean, was it worth it, Wendi? Was it worth it?
So I wonder what the visitation is like on death row. Can they visit their families?
I don't really know a lot about death row, Lolly.
Well, you've come to the right place, Rainey, because I do. So it's a little time for another Facts of the Crime. Did you know death row inmates have a pretty rough time? fair enough. They typically spend between 22 and 23 hours a day alone in their cell, often for decades, while appeals drag on. The average wait before execution in the US is well over 20 years.
Just kill me now.
These guys are isolated. They have about 1 hour of recreation per day when they're allowed outside of their cells. They have limited showers to a few times per week, limited human contact. Quite often these inmates will communicate by yelling to each other through their cell doors. It is incredibly lonely and isolating. But they can read books, watch a small TV or listen to the radio, write letters, and have very limited visits with friends and family. There are no group activities, almost no physical contact, and they don't have any jobs in prisons like regular prisons. So this must be a real head fuck.
Wow.
Once it's time for their execution, the date is set. These guys are moved to a death watch cell for constant observation. They are offered their last meal, so any meal of their request, they will get it. Final phone calls and visits, and then it's time for the walk to the execution chamber. When the time comes, the guards escort the inmate to the chamber. This is often called the last walk. Their hands and sometimes feet are restrained. They are then strapped to a gurney. There are witnesses, including victim family members, media. They watch through a glass window, and then I'm sure you can guess what happens next. To be fair, it's pretty dark.
It's better than the electric chair.
I know, but now that I've read that out loud, now I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
Oh, take them down.
Ruthless raining in the house.
I have got a question for you, Lolly. Tell me, what's your last meal?
Mum, spaghetti bolognese.
Oh, nice.
Has to be. Maybe a little glass of 19 Crimes Red Blend. I'm definitely going to need some sort of dessert. I think creme brulee or a cheesecake.
Yum.
You, Rainey?
Oh, it's just so hard. I think I just want a Mexican fiesta.
Oh my God, I take it back. Me
Tacos.
too.
Margaritas.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God.
Some chips and guac and quesadillas. I'm down.
Mexican all the way.
So that is the story, Lolly, and I do apologise.
Wowzers.
But can you handle this crime and scandal?
Absolutely not. This has to be the darkest bitch on the planet.
I know.
Because it's one thing, obviously the murder, but then we've got the poisoning, all of that is so terrible. But this poor man was dying of cancer. This man was living a nightmare. And you can just imagine how horrible he felt physically. And then to have his wife just out there partying it up, slut dropping all over town, sucking dicks.
Eating baguettes.
And poor Joe is dying. And then she goes and beats him with a bar stool.
I know, it's brutal. But also, like, well, come on, guys, why wait so long? Hurry up and give her the wee blue needle. You know, taxpayers' money. Like, what are they doing?
I'm sorry. But yeah. Look, guys, if you think that's insensitive, think of Joe in the fetal position on the floor, waiting for a paramedic, okay?
Oh.
Rainey, can you handle this garbage gal crime and scandal?
No, I cannot. And, you know, like I said, apologies. I was rereading my notes thinking, what have I done? But, you know, it's got to be told.
It has to be told. Poor Joe.
And he was a handsome, fit man. The fact that happened to him, it's awful. He was so young, 33 years old.
Terrible.
33.
So sad. Neck cancer.
And who would have thought that people so young back then would get cancer like that? It's only from the vaccine.
I know, it makes sense these days, but not back then. So strange.
So no, I cannot handle this crime and scandal.
Oh, dear Lord. You just don't know who you're going to marry. I don't know what's happening, guys. You know, we cover these stories every week and it just tends to be your spouse that murders you.
I know.
So what are we thinking? Shall we all just separate?
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, were these people destined to kill, or was it the pairing up with a certain person that then brought this evil side out?
Sometimes these spouses do bring out the worst in someone, you know?
Gosh, that was a heavy one. Well, look, friends, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we love having you here. Please, if you love the podcast, a rating, review. I don't think you guys understand. It helps us so much. And
It
we
really does.
currently have 96 ratings on Spotify, and there is a lot more of you that are tuning in every week. So please take a little moment, jump on over, give us a 5-star, drop a comment or a rating on Apple Podcasts. It would mean the world to us and it helps us.
Would.
Okay. Thanks, Rainey. I will be back with an episode next week, finally after my little hiatus. And guys, take care.
Wow, watch out for Wendy's with an eye.
That's right. Love you, Rainey. Love you guys.
Love you, Lolly.
We'll see you next week.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Rainy and Lolly got a tale to tell, so sit down and listen up or go to hell. Crime, scandal, and comedy, unfiltered, unqualified, unapologetically. And you can't handle the crime now. You can't handle the crime now. You can't handle the crime now. You can't handle the crime and scandal.
So Wendi she's working multiple jobs, and it's really hard to make men's meat. She is, it's fine, yeah. And that is exactly what she does.
Jeez, that was so crazy.
The X didn't fall out my mouth. It's like I lost the X there for a minute.
Where did that goddamn X go?
Just fell off my tongue. Now, hopefully I can get that in. So do you want to just do like a pretend reaction? Like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah, oh my God.
Wow, that is so bad.
This is why I'm not actually hanging on my way. Oh my God, that is so bad. Oh my God, I cannot believe what I just heard. Tell me what
Oh my God, what?
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God.